Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Hope you're well, hope we're all okay. Hope you're looking forward to the beautiful weekend that we have, bank holiday included. I know that I'll be enjoying myself with loads of football watching, and at 4:30 on a Sunday, I know where I'll be watching. This video is all about the Champions League, okay? You know, it's the competition where you find the best teams in the world, okay? And ironically, we had a bit of a draw that some would say is favourable. So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to talk a little bit about each team, you know, what we can look to expect from them a little bit. And just my general thoughts about the Champions League draw. It was nice to be back. I sat there like a bloody child, sitting there going, when we got our name pulled and I was begging not for Group C and Bayern Munich. And then me giving a different German team was lovely. So yeah, I'll be sort of going through that. But yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, all those things. Let me know your thoughts and feelings about the Champions League draw. And you also there you should see my Twitter handle and my Instagram handle. Give us a follow on both, guys. I do tweet a lot. I do sort of give my thoughts and feelings about things that are happening there and then what I see. So yeah, follow me on there and be good to see some of that as well. But yeah, let's get into it. So obviously, we were pot 2 yesterday. So pot 1, you'd find, you know, champions of leagues. So for example, you'd find your Man Cities in there, your Bayern Munichs, your Portos, AC Milans. You also found Champions League winners. Real Madrid were in there. Obviously, I know they won the La Liga as well. But yeah, Champions League winners. You find Europa League winners in there as well in Frankfurt. So obviously, if you win the Europa League, you get automatic qualification into the Champions League. Hence why it was a really big thing for them. So yeah, that was pot 1. Pot 2 is where you found ourselves. So you found ourselves with teams like Liverpool, Chelsea. You found Sevilla, Barcelona. You found, ironically, pot 2 was probably just as strong as pot 1, if not stronger. In pot 3, you found teams like Dortmund, Inter Milan, Sporting Lisbon. So some really, Benfica, I think, were in pot 3. Was it pot 3? I think it was pot 3, yeah. Pot 2 had Juventus, that was it, that's what I was thinking of. So yeah, pot 3 was full of some pretty dangerous teams. And pot 4, you know, you found Rangers and Celtic, Marseille, and then you found some other not great teams, okay? So that's what you found. So when we were pulled with Frankfurt. That was the first team in our group that was pulled. Pot D, I believe it was. We were pulled in there with them. So already we were off to an absolute flyer because I think we could only get A, B, C, D or E. A, B, D and E were teams like Ajax, Porto, AC Milan and Frankfurt. C was Bayern Munich. So you can see we had a 1 in 5 chance of getting a team that we probably didn't really want to face. I do want to test ourselves against the big teams in Europe, but if we can maybe get through the group quicker and rest players at the end, every little helps rest-wise, if you know what I mean, guys. So that was the first thing. Then pot 3 came around, and pot 3 was pulled out, and we got given Sporting Lisbon, which again, not too displeased about, sorry. Good, strong team, especially at home. And this season they've started the league off quite well. But again, we could have had Inter Milan in there. And it was one of the teams that I actually did want for Conte and Perisic's sake, but not having them is probably not a bad thing. They actually went into pot C, Group C, sorry, with Bayern, Barcelona as well. So that's a bit of a death group already lined up there. And then, yeah, pot 4 came around. I think we probably got the hardest team in pot 4. That was Marseille. Again, you know, they're not going to be well beaters, but it was probably the worst team we probably could have pulled out of pot 4. And actually, probably just as good as the other 2 teams that we got pulled with. So, yeah, I think in my initial thoughts, yeah, we are favourites to win that group, if I'm honest. We should be, okay? We are actually pretty good in the Champions League. Ironically, I completely forgot. I was chatting to a few other people, and it said the last time we got pulled with a quote-unquote easy group, we actually went out. And that was quite surprising. And it said, you know, when we get given the harder groups, we actually go through. So fingers crossed that's not a habit and not a trajectory we're going to go on. So yeah, my initial thoughts is I probably couldn't have been any happier. I think when you look at what we could have been dealt with to what we did get given, I'm thrilled. I mean, for example, City got, was it Sevilla and Dortmund? You know, those are 2 teams that I probably wouldn't really wanted to face. I mean, Dortmund, we've got a good track record against, but again, you know, Dortmund, Sporting Lisbon, you know what I mean? Oh, sorry, I think it was, it was Sevilla. Yeah, so Sevilla in there as well. But again, Sevilla are a great team in Europe. So again, one of those things, we could have wound up with in a PSG group like Juventus did, or if we did get Pot C, which we could have gone, we'd have had obviously Bayern Munich and Inter Milan, which is no easy feat to get out of that group. So yeah, there we have it. So I think all English teams did well. City have probably got the hardest group. I know that Liverpool sort of got a group where it's quite favourable. Obviously, Ajax sort of have annihilated their team. There's going to be Senan Anthony. He's no way he's going to be staying. Rangers, and for the life of me, I can't actually remember their third team. I don't really care either, to be fair. I can only care about Spurs. And yeah, Chelsea got a nice, pretty easy group. I think it was Milan, Salzburg, and someone. It was, not really relevant. So I expect all 4 English teams to get through. Obviously, I believe that obviously they changed a lot of the formats, but I believe again into the round after that you don't play an English team. Okay, the first time you can play an English team is the quarterfinals, which is obviously who when we face Man City, that was the quarterfinals on our run to the Champions League final. So yeah, let's go through the team. So I'm going to start first and foremost with Frankfurt. Okay, so Frankfurt, like I said, to get into the Champions League, they had to win the Europa League. Now they kind of, I think, like West Ham, sacrificed their league form for the Europa League. So last season, their actual placement finish was 11th in the Bundesliga. So, quite low actually when you think of a team being a pot 1 team in the Champions League. They were magnificent like Rangers in the Europa League. They really were. European-wise, they are a good, strong team. They do have some good players still. They did get rid of Kostic, which I believe was probably their best player. I will go through a few of the players that they have, the ones that people may or may not know. But this season, they've started off the season really poorly, in my opinion. They've had a really indifferent start. So the first game of the season, I believe, was the DFB Pokal first round, which is like their German Cup, I believe. And they played I don't even know the team, Magdeburg, never heard of them. Beat them 4-0 away from home. But then they got absolutely thumped 4 days later by Bayern Munich at home, 6-1. Absolutely thumped. And then they lost 5 days later in the Super Cup final to Real Madrid 2-0. Drew with Hertha Berlin 1-1, and that was away, and then drew at home to Cologne 1-1. So they've had a really poor start to the season. They're 15th in the league, play after 3. They've drawn 2, lost 1. There's no reason to be concerned about that. What you should be concerned about is the fact they've scored 3 in that time and conceded 8. That's the concern there. To concede 8 after 3 games shows a team that maybe defensively isn't all there. They do have some good players, and I ironically said ages ago, if we're going to get a centre back, I probably would have wanted Ndicka. Could be a little bit wrong there, couldn't I? I'll happily admit when I'm wrong. I'll admit when I'm right. I was right about Longley being great on the ball. I was right about Perisic being an unbelievable baller. Spence coming in. Obviously, he's not really played just yet, but that takes time. He's not really had a pre-season. And I was right about players like, Højbjerg staying and things like that. So I'm right occasionally when I'm right, and I'm wrong when I'm wrong. And I was wrong about Ndicka so far, at least. It's only 3 games, so maybe I could be proved right by Ndicka when he comes in and drops 2 stellar performances against Spurs, no doubt. So, not a great start for them so far this season. A few other players that you may know. Mario Götze. If you don't know Mario Götze, you don't know football. He's an icon of football for the pure fact of the World Cup winning goal. He came off the bench to score it. Kevin Trapp, he's been linked with Man United recently. He's obviously rejected Man United, just like pretty much everyone else that they've been linked with have rejected them. E.g. see Frankie de Jong. As much as Man United fans tell themselves they're going to win the title this year, they're still not a great team. Casemiro does not fix all their problems. Antony won't fix it either. They also have got, obviously, Evan Ndicka, Sebastian Rode. He was the centre mid that played at Dortmund. And Daichi Kamada. If you play FIFA, you're probably going to know him, that's for sure. So, there are some really good players still in this team. Losing Kostic was a massive part of their team. So that is a bit of a shame for them. But it's a team that, when you think 1 and 2, the 2 top teams, we should be the favourites there. Moving on to Sporting Lisbon. So Sporting Lisbon this season, again, bit of a difficult start for them. 3 games in, they've won 1, drawn 1 and lost 1. Nice ones across the board there. 5 points already behind Porto is quite a worry, being this early on in the season. So they've got 4 points. They've scored 6 and conceded 6. So you see what I mean? 1-1-1, 6-6. They are very consistent there. Very consistent. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one with them. I mean, the last 2 seasons in the Portuguese league, they've actually been pretty good. 2 seasons ago they won it. Last season they actually came second. So last season, 27 wins, four draws, 3 losses, scored 73, conceded 23. So really strong defensively there, clearly. And, they can get out and they can score. This season's a bit different. Obviously went to the Champions League round of 16. I think if I'm correct, they played Man City, who absolutely bullied them, which is not uncommon in the world of football when Man City bully a team, e.g. see Bournemouth. And yeah, they're in the Europa League the season before, but didn't do very well. I think they went out in the playoffs. Don't hold me to that. Don't say it's the gospel, but I think that was it. Obviously, they sold some players recently. Obviously, Heung-Min was as if you're on Instagram, it's like that. But obviously, if you're not, it's Nuno Mendes. He was the left back that went off to Paris Saint-Germain. Was on a loan deal, and they obviously made it permanent this year. Good player, but obviously lost him. They lost Paulinho, the centre defensive mid. He's actually at Fulham now. So if you've seen him, that's where he's come from. And they sold him, I think it was like 18 million or something. Got some good money out of him. And then sold Matthias Nunes to Wolves, who played last weekend, who actually looked a pretty good player. Spent big bucks. I think it was like 40 million on him. So big bucks on him as well. But yeah, Sporting are a good team. I'd probably say Sporting are just as good as Frankfurt, to be honest. I think they're quite similar. That'll be a really difficult place to play away, I think. I think Frankfurt are probably more difficult to play at home than they are away. They've got great away fans. You saw it at Barcelona. They've got great away fans. But I think Lisbon away will be a difficult game. It's such a difficult place to play. Man City did what Man City did, fair enough, but it is a difficult place to play. And then moving on to the third team, I think it's just as strong as the other two, is Marseille. Okay, so obviously Marseille being in Ligue 1. This season started off really strong. 3 games in, went 1-2, drawn 1, 7 goals scored, 3 goals conceded. So clearly a team that can score. Okay. This season, they played teams like Rennes, who they won 4-1 at home, drew 1-1 away to Brest, and then won 2-1 at home to Nantes. Obviously had a player sent off in that game as well, so that's a really good performance from them. You will know a lot of their players. There's a lot of Arsenal contingent down that way. But they've got Alexis Sanchez signed there this summer. They've got Dimitri Payet, Jonathan Klaus, the right back, Matteo Guendouzi, Nuno Tavares, the left back from Arsenal, went there. Jordan Verretou, Chancel Mbemba, I think, is still there. So they've got loads of players that we know from just the world of football in the Premier League. So good players in there, that's for sure. Last season they finished second in Ligue 1. Obviously it's the PSG Invitational, so PSG normally finish top and then second and below. So they finished second, 2 points ahead of Monaco. 21 wins, 8 draws, 9 losses. Scored 63, conceded 38. So already this season they look on to be a much better attacking team. I don't know if that's to do with the fact that they've started this season on like a house on fire and Alexis Sanchez is the guy. I don't know. But looks like they're a half-decent team. And you know what? They had a good season last year. And I think we really need to take them as seriously as the other two teams. I do think we come out of the team on top of the group. I would probably say, if I had to predict the points that we would have, I'd say something like 12. Maybe 12, 13. I can see us maybe losing one of these games. We shouldn't be losing more than one, in my honest opinion. I think we win the 3 home games. I think if I had to predict our win, draw and loss of the other 3, I think we beat Frankfurt. I think we lose to Lisbon. I think we draw Marseille. That's where I think that's how it goes. So look, that would wind us up with 13 points. Would come top of the group with 13 for sure. Obviously it might go the other way and we might lose all 3. We might lose 2 at home, draw 1 and then win the rest. Maybe it's that, but I don't know. But yeah, if my honest opinion, sum up this whole video, I'm happy with the performances this season coming into the Champions League against teams that are going to cause major difficulties. We basically played Sporting Lisbon last week against Wolves. Okay, so we kind of already know what Portuguese teams are like, which is nice. I'd probably say, if I gave it out of 10, 8.5 out of 10, I'm really happy with the draw. We could have had it so much worse. We're in a good spot. We should be looking to take the first position into the round, the knockout stages. By that point, you might get 1, maximum 2 rounds of teams that maybe aren't the pinnacle of European football, but you're going to have to play some big boys at some point, okay? And do you know what? if we can get through the group easy, unscathed, maybe rest players for the end of the group, allows us to have our Premier League form or, you know, the League Cup form. I know we're going to play a lot of the games. I think we're playing all the group games before the World Cup. So you know what I mean? We want to rest leading into that. And you know what? It's not a bad thing being able to whiz through the group, make sure you qualify, make sure you finish in top, and then just go, right, we're going to rest the players for the last game, no matter what it is. And we'll go into the Premier League and League Cup around that time, feeling as fresh as you probably could. But anyways, let me know what you think, okay? Give us a like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Follow us on social media, okay? Starting to become very, very active over there, especially on Twitter. Lots of tweets, lot of triggering our fans, you know, all that jazz. And yeah, let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the video very, very soon. Take care.